Good morning. It's a good morning here. Beautiful outside. And let's get to the charts. So I was mentioning to Dan this morning, actually, a little morning chat, but I see so many bullish patterns in stocks. And it's the market is bullish, meaning the trend. But it's like the damn thing doesn't move with any momentum. It's just, they buy the dip. I think they did yesterday was kind of weird, has a kind of grind to the upside and that weird move after 2 o'clock or so, or 2:30 on that news, that wild move as it was grinding down and ripped higher. But, from the daily charts as we're looking here, it's just a slow grind over the last, week or so. And, here's this, this pullback. And I talked this week about slowing momentum. And I guess that's, the market not really moving is slowing momentum, of course. But, this slow kind of a grind higher. We've talked about the internals being where they are. It was 3 days in a row this week with the total put call ratio under 0.5 early in the day, which is, historically a heads up that things are going to pull back. But the market is incredibly resilient. End of year seasonality, whatever. The next shoe to drop with maybe this election thing, who the hell knows? It's a little frustrating, but weekly chart here, this move up, and just see it's really, we're going 4 weeks without any real significant price movement here. And last week, and we're looking at the futures, of course, but last week being a range expansion bar, prior to these 2 topping tails, which didn't follow through, which is bullish. And so you would think that this week the market would have taken off to the upside. And we're pretty much sitting in the same place, on a closing basis after another dip and a move up again. And so when is this market going to get out of its own way and move, which the assumption would be to the upside? However, you look at the internals and it's like, be very careful, with sentiment up here as this is, and breath a little bit of a deterioration here, but still near the high. When gamma exposure flips, does that have anything to do with the sun, Trader McGraw, or I don't know what? I don't even know what gamma is, but I think I saw it on Star Trek once years ago. Yeah, send me an email. It'd probably be an interesting article. There's lots of interesting articles that I read over the years, with theoreticals about such things. And most of them really didn't come true, but I'd be interested to read it. Send it to me, please. So here we are, we'll see what today brings. And, yesterday's low as a reference point. And let's say this high from, I guess, a couple of days ago. Let's get this over here. We got a little trading range going on here, which is what we see on the hourly charts. So we're up at the top of the range. And how do we interpret that? Well, obviously trading range, but this price action here, we interpret as being bullish price action. Why? Because it got to the top of the range over here and it's going sideways at resistance. There was buyers on the dip, pretty much a red bar, a larger red bar ignored. So is today the day that it breaks out? Is it, always the questions as to what is going to happen in the future. And so at times it's very apparent based on price action what should happen. And other times we interpret this as, well, this is what should happen, but when is it going to happen? Or meaning this kind of a bar, I refer to as an event, right? That jumps out at you like it dipped down and came right back up. That's going up. So this bar here, that's going up. And so now I guess we're just in a waiting period to see which way things might go here. So just interesting. Let's look at the spiders for a moment. sometimes you get a bigger, not a bigger, a different look because you see, the gaps. It's not 24 hours of price action. So yesterday, which was a little bit of a, let's just say, uncomfortable day for myself and a couple others that followed when we shorted early in the morning and gapped under the low and started down, and then there was that grind up. And personally, I mean, I held anticipation of a gap fill, which it did, and added, and everything was going great as it rolled over later in the afternoon, which you could see here on the 15-minute. And as we were looking for it to come down into this area, as that news came out, and it exploded higher. And anyway, kind of weird kind of trading. So this hourly chart, again, a little bit of a different perspective. And over here earlier in the day was like, okay, we got a sell set up, and it was ready to go down. And then that news hit. So here we are, trading range, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And NQs. Similar, hourly trading range. But here, where it's been outperforming, we've got multiple days up. We've got a correction bar, and it got 1 day up on the correction bar. So there obviously is this hesitancy right now at this period in time where the market is bullish, buying these dips, but not so bullish that it's willing to press the accelerator. Call it internals, call it waiting for the news, corona, stimulus. As chart readers, I just read what I've been explaining here and waiting for some event. Yeah. So pre-market little dip here, and just this is a good chart to print out and just write on it. This is a mess. Stand aside. Right? Moving averages intersecting through the middle of prices. Excuse me. Tails on the top and the bottom, and overlapping bars. It's a good example of what to stay away from. And similar picture here, right? You could say it's a bullish consolidation, but we're in this holding period of waiting. Interesting. The other chart was going down. This one's going up. I guess not that unusual in this market environment, but it's kind of like perking up. And when I see something like that, I'm like, okay, to where? And it's got this congestion right to the left, so not very exciting. The Russell has been in a holding period as well. And so, with many of these price patterns that I see that in stocks, that hey, these things look great. And let's, look at some of the price action yesterday was amazing. Look at this lift. I mean, you look at the markets, and kind of what I was saying to Dan, it's like I see these stocks that look like they're going to continue to do well and explode. Look at Uber. And there are plenty of others that maybe not such big bars, but bullish patterns. So why isn't the market moving? Well, maybe it's getting ready. So I suppose something's going to happen. Just the timing of it. Yeah. Well, that one came back after the gap down. So, but it's kind of extended and so on. So kind of like a little strange point in time here. Bonds, just another picture of a mess. Oil down a little bit here and consolidating. Had a hell of a run there with the dollar getting shellacked. Hitting new lows. It's all pretty interesting stuff there. And gold following through to the upside, but coming up into minor resistance. But look, it started with a wide range bar. So you typically don't want to take a sell setup. And there's no sell setup here yet, but it's where one should occur. And just a little point of sell setups that begin with wide range bars like that typically don't work out so well. Something to think about. Silver. Look at that. Bam. So this is going to take a little time to shape up, meaning this congestion area to deal with this. But that is very encouraging as a pattern to keep an eye on. And from the point of, let's just call it symmetry of this and the break lower and then coming back up, and the symmetry where it doesn't have to be the same width or length as this, but some kind of price action where I would, my thought was, okay, a couple of weeks of sideways price action could be enough to where things explode to the upside here, and which gold should follow as well. So it's not there yet. So this is absolutely something that we'll be keeping an eye on in the coming weeks and to the end of the year. Good morning, YouTube. I've got a bunch of people in YouTube, and I say good morning every morning. I type it in there, and very few people say good morning. Over in the green room, everybody says good morning. So you people in YouTube need to get with the program here, because say good morning. It's being polite. All right. All right. And lastly, take a look at the transports, which is another bullish pattern, right? Another uptrend, kind of, has these dips and comes back again, and it's dipped enough here with yesterday's green bar. Lots of good mornings there on YouTube. Thank you, everybody. Which is suggestive of maybe it's ready to start popping back up again. So, we'll take a peek at some of the transport stocks within that index to see how they're looking. Dan mentioned to me yesterday, jets, it's an ETF, airlines and cruise, the kind of with beaten down junk. And we see the weeklies here, and, back to this theme of slowing momentum. Look at these weekly bars, up ends where it opened, up ends where it opened. And again, last week was that bit of a range expansion. I talked about this in the newsletter over the weekend. And here we are this week, today and tomorrow to go. And basically we've gone nowhere. So there you have it. There's the long story of basically we're marking time for the most part at the markets. And there's, stocks that look like they're going to do well into the end of the year. So here it is. Welcome back, Jeff. Welcome back. We emailed last night. Good to hear back here. So AXP and Duncan, funny you should ask about that, Lance. Lance and YouTube's asking about that. Dan just chatting me this morning about put spreads and those being directionals, which he can talk about now that he's going to come on. All yours, Dan.
Good morning. Yeah, there's many bullish patterns out there, and I feel like a broken record. We'll keep trading them, but I would have a lot more confidence and follow through and not getting whipsawed if the internals were not so over, bearish extremes. Yeah, so let's look at these. I texted to our swing letter folks just a watch list I had, kind of carry over from yesterday. Dunking here. So it broke out here, and we actually were trading it there. And now it's a pullback and reversal and support. So it's another setup. I see it gapping up and pulling in here pre-market. So something's going on pre-market, which actually makes the trade, in my opinion, better. Because then it has to trigger yesterday's high, which means that it would negate the pre-market weakness. So I like that. Yeah, there's a number of banks that were on our list yesterday. AXP had a nice close. Morgan Stanley. Look at that. wide range ignited. Now this one, it's a little far from the 20, which is why I liked AXP better. WFC, the dog in the big brokerage banks. You know, red bar ignored, weekly breakout. Look at this monthly. I think that's a long, you know, this is could be a beautiful entry. I know it's a dog, but we don't trade fundamentals. But that, yeah, WFC is on my long list. A couple others here, Hexel HXL. That looks great as a continuation. Home, if it can get over yesterday's high, it's another pullback and reversal. HPE, that's a nice looking pattern. You know, strong uptrend, went sideways, red bar ignored. AMWL, you know, it's more bottom fishing, but look at the volume. Look at the volume on this breakout, and now it's reversing on minor support, the 20 MA flattening out. I don't know what this company does, but it, you know, retested the IPO. This is the technical place to enter. So that's on my list. Let me put that in a window and dunking. WL. Oh, I also have Oki. Oki's on my list, a little oil stock. These EVs had beautiful reversals yesterday after gapping down. Look at this 15-minute chart. It's not a great day trade yet. I was hoping that go sideways a little bit more, but look at this 15-minute. That would have been a beautiful day trade breakout, but it's already moving. Win was acting strong. It's gapping up here, $2. Look at that. So yeah, there's a lot of bullish things out there. All right. YouTube have a question or two. SPR and Apple, both long. SPR. I can't tell where it's gapping. It's a consolidation. If it can get over the red bar, it would be okay to maybe take a half lot and then the day prior to that. But oh wait, that's not SPR. There's SPR. Sorry. Yeah, this was on my core watch list too. SPR. It's a supplier for Boeing. And you know, these have been hard to get on board with the gaps like this. But that was a vaccine Monday news gap. And that was another Monday news gap. But yeah, SPR looks good. Look at Boeing. Boeing looks higher. They're just hard to get on board without a big stop. GME. Yep, that was on my list for a little day trade yesterday. SPR stop. Well, McGraw, you know the answer to that. What time frame are you trading, right? So if it's swing trading, the day's low. If it's core trading, I would give it, you know, a little more room over here. He's asking about Apple. Yeah, Apple over the high I like. Yeah, there was more on my watch list here. Apple over the high looks good. Netflix over, what's today, Thursday? Over Tuesday's high. Looks like a directional. RMG. Yeah, that's a beautiful 15-minute chart. Gapped up and going sideways. Jake, that would be a good 30-minute day trade. You know, we were saying when these things go ballistic like this, could it double from here? Of course, but you know, we're waiting for a bearish reversal, and then we're going to short them. BLO, that was a power bar, sure. Yeah, I mentioned yesterday the oils were looking good again. I know there's some pending Saudi news on the deal, and it's not out yet, but yesterday's bar is telling me that there was speculation in the sector of whatever news would be positive for those stocks. On Dish, it looks higher, but it's too far from the 20 for me, and it's gapping down here. So I think we can find better. EA, it looks higher, but I think we can find better. You know, you got it's slop over here to the left. It's still in a downtrend on the weekly, approaching resistance. We can find better. Air, yep, you mentioned that yesterday on this hourly, not hourly, this 15-minute breakout. And I said, sure, buy the high, buy the high. GRWG for JR. I looked at that one yesterday, actually. It's just far from the 20 is all. It's fine to trade. It's a nice bullish engulfing. Buy it over yesterday's high. I think we just got to be a little quicker on the stops on some of these. Again, because of many of these patterns are overbought, number one. Number two, the internals. But that's not going to prevent us from trading them. I mean, we're fully, loaded on the long side here. So we've been trading it well. Let's see on our weekly options trader, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We got 9 open trades. Our advisory letter, 6 minus 23. We have 17 open trades. So, yeah, we're doing well. And costs for Austin, call spread. Yeah, I like the gap down. I know they announced something or other about same store sales or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, it's a call spread, particularly for tomorrow. And it also could be well, I wish it had a bigger price point. Let's say hypothetically, this whole arrangement of candles was closer, just gapping under here. Then this is my price void. So my target would be, somewhere in here. So no, I take that back. I don't like it as a day trade. But yeah, if you can shorten out of the money call spread for tomorrow, yeah, I'd love it. All right, let me look at some of these gappers here. EWZ. I just looked at this. EWZ is the ETF for Brazil because I read an article in the journal about the millennials in Brazil now, getting all excited about trading, but I don't see a great pattern there. Oh, Kroger had earnings. That's a nasty pre-market, gapping way down here to 31. We'll come back to it. I just answered GRWG. Zoom potential put spread for 1 DTE, Zoom and SNF. It's sloppy. We can find better. I like Piton better. Piton over the high. I don't, it's okay if we do sloppier patterns for 1 DTE, but I want a better than 15-minute chart. So why we're in a Google put spread for tomorrow? Why mess with Zoom when you can mess with this? I mean, this was all-time highs. We sold a put spread on that yesterday. Look at Netflix. We got a put spread on this, and that's the beauty of selling credit spreads. This is not a great directional. You got the gap fill, but it's a bottoming. Look at all these red bars ignored. And then it broke out, a gap breakout. So see this horizontal line at 480? That's the bet we're making. We sold a put spread that expires tomorrow at 4 p.m. If it stays above 480, we make 100% of the premium received. So I love credit spreads. Yesterday MT Live, we talked about checklists, right? And our methodical approach. And my checklist is give me a pattern where I have confidence on major support. PACB, yeah, that's 1, 2, 3. William, yeah, that looks good. That's, wow, look at that, $4 to 18 on the monthly. I don't know what they do, but the shareholders are rewarding them for it. Yeah, NVIDIA, John's saying NVIDIA was another put spread we did yesterday. On Netflix, not great directional. It's better now because we have this inside bar. So it's better now than it was a day before. It would have been a great day trade, but it's just look to the left. It has this unfilled gap. So the price void is sloppy. Compare directional Google to Netflix. It's a day and night. And look at all these other charts I started with. I said we're bullish. It's not just the pattern. We want the price void. And so look to the left here. This thing's at all-time highs. Now I know you might say, well, Dan, you told me don't buy something up 5 days in a row. I do say that, but it's not a black and white rule either. I need to read the candles in connection with the overall pattern. And yes, this was a range expansion bar, but it closed all-time highs. And yesterday was my resting day. Would I personally have bought yesterday over the high of this bar? No, because then I would have said it's too extended for me, for my setup, for my comfort zone. But now that I have this inside bar, that changed the story. All right, thanks, Sanjay. Yeah, guess looks fantastic. Although, well, no, let me take that back, Paul. I love that it's in an uptrend. I love the 2 bottoming tails. I like the higher low. I like the bullish reversal. What I don't like is this gapping too big. But yeah, this otherwise was a good setup. I would have done half over yesterday's high and half over Tuesday's high. But now your gap's messing it up. All right, Lazar, what's up with Lazar? Gapping up $24. Gap's too big. That looks like all-time highs. I got no interest in it. Data had news of a secondary offering. Now this is what we call a wide range igniting bar. Wow, that was the day. Now it's just slop. As Greg says, it needs to repair the damage. Zulu Sierra gapping all-time highs on earnings. Synopsis selling off here. We'll come back to you. Snow had earnings gapping down, no pattern, but it should, it had a huge run and it's coming in hard, but it's worth watching to see if it can make the turn. Snap. Hey, Debbie. Snap, yeah. I mentioned this as a day trade yesterday when I was glancing up at my 26